After neglecting our son to prioritize ourselves, we're now pleading for him to let us back into his life after he cut ties and moved out. My wife, 42F, and I, 45M, were having dinner with our only son, 23M, 2 weeks ago. We were celebrating the fact that he got into one of the top 10 PhD programs in physics. We were having dinner with each other at our house. My son has no past issues. He's a smart, social, caring, and hardworking boy. He has a good set of friends and an amazing girlfriend. I'm just completely shocked at what happened. The argument. Both of us were congratulating him on his achievement and told him how we were so proud of the fact he was the first to get a PhD in the entire family. He said thanks as usual. My wife reminded him to make it a priority to maintain contact with us when he moves to start his PhD. For some reason, he just snapped at that moment. He stopped eating for a moment and, with a stern look, he asked why. I didn't know why he was so angry. I just wanted to defuse a potential fight and jokingly said, "Because we're your parents, silly." Then he said, "Well, your job is done now. You don't need to bother me. You have more time for each other now." His mom asked what the matter was. He said he doesn't understand why he has to force himself to maintain contact with his parents, who loved each other more than him. We were shocked and asked what made him think like that. He went on his rant, and he said we may love him, but he was mostly a job for us that we needed breaks from. He mentioned that up until starting college, in the 3 to 4 vacations of 2 to 3 weeks we'd taken a year, we mostly went without him and dumped him at our parents' places. It's true, though, most of our trips have been as a couple since the beginning. This isn't his first time bringing it up. He mentioned that for the majority of the weekends we had, we looked forward to our date nights more than spending time with him. He said he felt that while we did love him, he was always in the back seat of our relationship. I told him we needed our own couple time too. He said that he understood that, but it seemed to him that for moments of fun, we always prefer to spend them as a couple. The major thing that kicked me in the balls was when he said one of the major reasons he enjoyed college was that he no longer needed us for emotional support. He said he enjoyed spending time with his friends more than spending time with us. He said that's what he wanted to do for his 4 years before he left. He said he was tired of being part of a family that placed him second when it came to love, especially when it wasn't his choice, and he wanted to be equally loved. He left dinner that night without saying goodbye and hasn't contacted us since then. My wife and I have been bawling our eyes out every day since then. We can't sleep at night at all. The worst part is that since he doesn't need us financially anymore, he can cut us out of his life with no drawbacks. Did we mess up with him as parents? In our eyes, we did everything we were supposed to do as parents. We loved him, fed him, sheltered him, paid for his tuition, and spent time with him. Apparently not enough. Forgive me if I didn't articulate myself properly. It's hurting to say this. What should we do? Did we go wrong? Advice is needed. Thank you all. Update. Just last Friday, my wife and I came into physical contact with our son. A lot of stuff has happened between the time we last saw him storming out on us during dinner and meeting him last Friday. The first week, we kept calling our son 5 times a day and leaving him 3 voicemails daily. We never heard him pick up the phone. Within the second week, his girlfriend picked up his phone one day and told us he was living with her at her apartment, but didn't want to see us. She told us to give him time to cool down. Meanwhile, our lives at home were getting screwed over. In the first couple of weeks, all of our energy was put into getting in contact with him and having him visit us. We knew where his girlfriend lived, and my wife wanted to make a personal visit, but I warned her that showing up at his doorstep uninvited was only going to make the situation worse. We called our family members to persuade him to talk to us. It didn't matter if we had his grandparents, aunts, or uncles call him, but his response was politely telling them he was willing to talk to them about anything but us and apologized if he inconvenienced them. We realized our method wasn't working. We decided to go for counseling and therapy, not only to try to reconnect with him, but also to process our emotions through these difficult times. We slowly stopped overwhelming him with our attempts to contact him. Both our counselors suggested we respect his boundaries and let him make the first move, so we decided to leave a voicemail on his phone saying that we wouldn't be bothering him, but our door is always open to him. These 3 months were painful, to say the least. Our sexual life decreased significantly. There was a time my wife started crying in the middle of it, since it reminded her of the time we let him cry out his nightmare when he was 3 years old, but still didn't let him enter our room because we were in the middle of having sex, and we wanted to finish. We didn't go on any date nights or outside of the house for that. My wife and I became home buddies. A lot of guilt was plaguing us, and that guilt led to a time of introspection. We started doing research on family dynamics during our spare time. We asked ourselves questions such as, did we spend enough time with him? Did he feel like a burden to our relationship? Were we wrong to put our relationship first over a relationship with him? We wanted to be aware of what was going on in his life, so we used to follow him on social media. We checked his Facebook page every day. That was a big mistake. We found out that he proposed to his girlfriend last month, and she said yes. We found out through a post on his Facebook page. Yes, that's right, the parents, found out about the engagement of our only child through Facebook. Jesus Christ. As if we weren't already in enough pain, we were stuck in the same cycle again in the past until he finally reached out to us. We got a call from our son this past Monday, and it was like a positive sign from the universe. He said he wanted to talk about our relationship. He asked if he could come to our house this Thursday with his girlfriend for support. We obviously said a resounding yes. We were anxious. I didn't expect it to be a tearful reunion, but it was definitely a good step in reconciliation. My wife and I discussed with each other how to lead the conversation. We both agreed to apologize for any anguish we caused and to listen to what he had to say first. When this Thursday came, we sat impatiently waiting for him after we came back from work. When he rang the doorbell and opened it, there was no sense of warmth from him, but a reluctant smile. His girlfriend almost felt sad being here. I had a feeling. That night, they both refused any drinks we offered them. My son felt extremely uncomfortable being there. My wife told him that if he wanted to speak first, he should. This is what he said to us. He apologized to us if he caused us any emotional turmoil. He said his resentment started building up ever since he was little. There were a lot of things about our behavior that contributed to his point of view. He felt like having kids was more of a checklist that we wanted to complete than being actively interested in being parents and having a deep bond as parents. He said that whenever there was a disagreement with one of us, we would always take the other side over his. It felt like there was an us versus him type of family dynamic. Whenever we came back home from work, we looked forward to seeing each other more than him. When it came to spending time with him, it felt like doing stuff with him was physically and emotionally draining for us. We needed a break from him after having a break with him. One-on-one time felt like it was even more taxing for us, according to him. He also said that there were times we wanted to spend time with each other. He said that we lit up when we wanted to spend time as a couple. He said that we put more effort into having our date nights and couple time than spending time with him. He said we seemed more upset when we couldn't have couple time over family time. The fact that we spend our vacations as a couple rather than as a family compounded the problem. He found it bizarre when we claimed we missed him after he came back from our trips. When he was young, he cried when we showed him pictures of our trips. We comforted him by saying we love him, but we need our couple time. He said that even made him more upset. He felt like we were using our parents, his grandparents, as our impromptu babysitters. He said that this feeling was further corroborated when visits significantly decreased as he grew older. He said he gave up on having a relationship with us when he entered high school. He said he put more effort and time into his academics, so he could use his energy in a more productive manner than on us. He said it didn't come as a surprise that we didn't notice because we never formed a close bond with him to notice such things. He said his academics and friendships satisfied him more than spending time with us. Eventually, we were just roommates with him. He became apathetic when we didn't spend time with him, and he turned us down many times. We always thought he was too busy for us. He said that his bond with us weakened even more during college. He never missed us, and he got annoyed when we asked to meet him and complained about him not calling us often. He said he cried sometimes because he felt guilty for not missing us. He also said one of the reasons he did well in his academics was because he wanted to do well in other aspects of his life, such as following his passion in physics, and he wanted to lead a happy life with us barely or entirely out of it. That's when he started tearing up. At that moment, it still hurts him that the reason he was successful today was because he wanted to get away from us. He said he felt free when he went to college, and now he is soon going to graduate school this fall on the other side of the country. In the past few months, he has realized a lot of new things. He concluded by stating what he wants for the future. He said he was very grateful for what we did for him, such as paying for college. He will financially support us if we ever need it or be present when an emergency or family crisis occurs. Aside from that, we are not a priority in his life at all. We shouldn't be demanding phone calls or having him visit us anymore. He said he shouldn't be forced to maintain a strong relationship with us because we never cultivated it while we raised him. He states that family or not, an adult isn't obligated to have and maintain a relationship with any other adult. He said he was stuck in a relationship with us that he didn't want to have until he became independent. He no longer regrets his decision. He said that at the end of the day, we chose to be his parents, not the other way around. We could have found ways to bond with him and find common ground and stuff to do with him, so it didn't feel like a burden to be a parent to him. We never incorporated him into our lives and saw being a parent as akin to a job. We had every opportunity to form that close bond with him, but we never took it. Before he left, he said he wished us a happy and healthy life, and we're invited to his wedding if we want to come. Time froze after he left, and we were flabbergasted by what happened. It was like he divorced us. My door is always open to him, and I hope one day he can forgive us for the way we treated him. However, I don't know how to move on with this possibly permanent estrangement. Any suggestions? Thank you for reading this. Writing this alleviated my anxiety a little bit. Jack, I still love you, son. Please come back. I'm sorry. Update. There's so much judgment from you guys. I believe that the spouse comes first. Your kids will eventually leave you, but your spouse stays with you till the end. I maybe didn't have a proper balance, but no parent is perfect. I need help getting him to understand that we love him and that we're sorry.